So Terraria's got thousands of items now, and they all seem to have their own purpose, but whether they serve that purpose well or not, that depends on what item we're looking at. Let's look at an example. We'll go broad and say the purpose is a melee weapon. Something like the Terra Blade does a great job for its stats and method to obtain, but something like a Pearl Wood Sword is just flat out useless, being very bad for the point that you can get it. So what if I told you that there was an item that has both of those? A really great purpose with some great stats and features, but just a bad everything else. Let me introduce you to my good friend, the Chlorophyte Extractinator. There's a decent chance you haven't heard of it, and on the surface it seems pretty good. It's a direct upgrade to an already good and massively unique item, so we'll start with the positives, then the negatives, and then I'll propose a bit of a change. Before we start though, I'm at about 700 subs right now. I'm trying to hit the big 1K, so everybody go subscribe, please. Alright, let's go. Alright, so for the good stuff, the Chlorophyte Extractinator gives the player the ability to input certain items for a different output. It's the same as the regular one, but much faster, and it provides access to getting hard mode ores on top of the pre-hard mode ones. And that's not just it. The Chlorophyte version also allows for the player to input more than just silt, slush, and desert fossil. It acts as a conversion tool as well. Any mining-based ore and bar that is input will output the counterpart. Any contaminated stone, sand, or ice blocks are purified, dungeon brick colors can be cycled, and even tissue samples and shadow scales can be interchanged. On top of the conversion stuff, any junk that's obtained from fishing can also be recycled into bait. Alright, that should be everything. So right now the Chlorophyte Extractinator seems pretty good, except it's not. You need Chlorophyte to craft it, making it a post-mecha item. The same point where Chlorophyte armor and weapons are available, rendering the previous hard mode ores nearly useless, so getting them as a bonus to the pre-hard mode ores is pretty insignificant. Oh, and the conversion thing? Well, let's just say, yeah, I think you get the point. Shimmer doesn't do everything that the Extractinator does, but it's literally pre-boss, and all the other stuff has alternatives too. Except for the dungeon breaks, but ignore that. On top of that, the bait thing I mentioned, yeah, you can do that with the regular Extractinator too. Plus, why would you even be catching junk at a stage of the game where you have Chlorophyte? It just seems a little pointless all across the board. Now, for the solution. My goal here is to take an item that, like I said earlier, isn't good but has the potential to be, and make it viable as a part of Terraria. So let's go. You know how there's the Mithril and Orichalcum anvils and the Adamantite and Titanium forges, right? Well, Cobalt and Palladium don't have any sort of upgraded item like that. I think you can see where I'm going with this. I would like to present to all of you the Cobalt Extractinator. Just for simplicity, by the way, I'm going to call it the Cobalt Extractinator, even though there would be a Palladium one as well. So, the Extractinator would give the player an alternative method to getting hard mode ores as opposed to mining and fishing. But for that to work, we can't just use the same silt, slush, and fossil that you could farm in pre-hard mode. That would make it way too easy and would lead to the same problem that crates had before 1.4. But actually, we will use those same materials. Since you already need Cobalt and Palladium to make the upgrade, I think it's fairly balanced, and just to make sure it isn't too good, I think it would be a good change to decrease the odds of getting hard mode ores from it too. Currently it's about 2% for each one, so we'll just chop that in half to make it 1. So there we go. Cobalt and Palladium get a new use, the hard mode ores have a new method to obtain, and the Extractinator has a little bit of a better purpose. But I still think I want to keep the Chlorophyte version around as an extra upgrade to the Cobalt one. This would revert the drop rate nerf as well as providing it a little bit more speed if you needed that for some reason. Alright, this was a little bit of a shorter one. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like and subscribe, and bye bye.